All right, it says we live. So we'll check the feed. And we'll get right into it.
We live.
We're live. There we go. Shalom out there.
Shalom.
Let's get right into it. Man, all the parallels is there, man. All right, Shalom. We are the brothers, Great Millstone, Charlotte, back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit of Rakakwadash. All right, we pray that this lesson is informative and also edifying to the elect. And before we get started, we want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out the labor in the house of David, the elect. Let's pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers.
Shalom
to the elect. All right, so we're back with another lesson here. We want to get into this thing. Title of this show: America was established on pagan ideals and influenced Mystery Babylon. And we're going to get into this article here. Let me share it. Share the screen. Bear with me. Let's share individual tabs one by one. All right, so it popped up. Cool. So we're going to get into this article. I stumbled across this article yesterday or day before, and it's an actual Wicca website, right? But the what we're going to get into, it says America was founded on pagan ideals, right? And based off the scriptures, the law, matter of fact, let me get that too. All right, this place, it has to be destroyed, right? Let me just get this real fast. This is Exodus 22 in verse 18. It says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." And what we're going to do is we're going to, just compare and look at the parallels of what happened then and what's going on now. And pretty much, America, being that great whore, is responsible for making the nations drunken with her wicked wines and philosophies, which we're going to tie into these pagan ideals and influence that America pushes, because this is not despite contrary belief. All right, this is not a God-fearing place. All right, it's not a God-fearing nation. Right, as we obviously see it now. All right, this place is rooted in witchcraft, sorcery, paganism, and this is why we're in that time of the Lord revealing this place and ultimately destroying it. Right? And if you brothers want to add anything real quick,
a precept.
You got it.
This is the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 4. It says, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts." Because as you made mention, America's foundation is rooted in witchcraft and paganism, So when you start going into the inception of how America was founded, all right, all the leaders, George Washington, all these different Masons and whatnot, these were witches, man.
Yep.
And it makes sense why we see a lot of things that's being done here, the things that's celebrated, because this is pagan rituals that we see on a daily that's been normalized, that you people are partaking and don't even realize it.
Exactly. Everything is rooted in the occult. The left hand in this place. This is why the Lord is going to destroy it off the face of the earth. Let me get that too real quick, and we'll get into the video. right? That's Amos, right? Let's get that in Amos 9. All right. This is Amos 9 in verse 8. And it reads, it says, behold, the eyes of the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, are upon the sinful kingdom. Now we know that this is twofold, all right? This is speaking about Israel, all right? The wicked Israelites, but at the same time, you can apply this to Babylon, America, all right? It says, behold, the eyes of the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it all from the face of the earth. And that's what's coming. The impending doom, the impending destruction of Mystery Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, America, right? It says, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And this is what I want to get into here, right? Now, I did a lesson going into this topic last year, right? Title of this show here, or this lesson, was Babylon is the United States, thy sorceries and abundance of enchantments, right? And before we play the video clip in the intro, right, there's this book by Alan Bunk. It says, America, the daughter of Babylon, right? It says here, America, the daughter of Babylon. America, the daughter of Babylon, deals with the prophetic future of the United States of America, all right? Because a lot of these scholars, they know that, Babylon, is America, all right, according to scriptures. It says, America, the daughter of Babylon, deals with the prophetic future of the United States of America. The Bible reveals that there will be a second nation of Babylon, which is described in detail throughout scripture and can be identified as America. See, it says the Bible not only identifies America, but also gives detailed accounts of future events concerning her. It says the Most High has much to say to us today in our relationship to Babylon and in the Babylonian religion. It says this book reveals that many symbols of the Babylonian religion that was created by Lucifer himself, king of Babylon, are displayed as American symbols throughout her capital. It's the cornerstone to the founding of Babel. Salaki, it says its cornerstone to the founding of Babel is directly linked to the American capital itself. See that? So this is most definitely Babylon, right? And I just want to make that point before we get into the main part of the lesson, the article here. So let's play this, because like we said, as the title of the show, America was established on pagan ideals and influence, all right? The essence of Babylon was established off the occult, off witchcraft, all right? Sorcery, masonry, wickedness, right?
Right. If I can add to you real quick, Baba Kashan.
You got it, brother.
Looking up this word pagan on Etymon Online, it says that pagan goes back to the religious sense often was said in the 19th century to derive from conservative rural adherence to the old gods after the Christianization of Roman towns and cities. But the Latin word in this sense predates that period in church history and is more likely derived from the use of paganist and Roman military jargon for civilian incompetent soldiers. But the main point being that, the paganism, it stems back to Greek and Greco-Roman times.
Boom.
Because during those Greco-Roman times, we know it was the worship of many gods. I forgot the pantheism or whatever it's called.
Great points. Before I play the video, I was looking for a quick picture. Bear with me. I'm going to get to it real fast. All right. Brother had made that a minute ago. Salaki, bear with me 1 second. I got it right here. Let me see if I can put it up in the screen. All right, bear with me 1 second. Here we go. Got it downloaded right here. Basically, this is what you were saying, Priest, right? This image here.
Yep.
If you want to speak on it real quick,
Yeah, because what? Real quick, somebody grab Ecclesiastes. I think that's 1 and 8 about the no new thing under the heaven.
That's right.
So Ecclesiastes chapter 1. It's a lot. 1 and 9. And 9, yep. The thing that has been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Right, there's no new thing under the sun. So what the elder has in the screen, man, is pretty much these same gods that have been worshipped going all the way back to ancient Babylon. All right, have been reincarnated multiple times throughout the different captivities because we know these heathen, all right, trying to grab onto that power from the previous kingdoms. They use the different gods and just repackage them with new names, but the rituals will still be the same. And so America is no different. What we see these damn elites do is take the gods of Egypt, Babylon, and so forth, and they have repackaged them and made them modern friendly to where these people are unknowingly still worshiping these pagan gods still, man.
Exactly.
Why do you think that, the things that we're seeing being promoted, such as abortion, sex changes and things like that are being pushed? Because when you go into the worship of these gods, man, they're exactly what we see being done today.
Yeah. You got to defile yourself, the homosexual practices, the defile acts that they have to do to these particular gods, to get the power and things like that. So like we just read, nothing new under the sun, So let's get that video real fast, and we'll, Spirit have us come back to this too. They're making my point about the, the origins of this place. The establishment was off the occult, witchcraft,
Yeah, sure. It's still on the
himself.
picture. Okay, never mind.
I got you. Here we go. Let's play it back. Salakia.
Washington, D.C. is a super, super strange place. It was architected and designed by the orders of George Washington himself, who was a 33rd degree Freemason. The White House sits at the apex of an inverted pentagram. It also sits at the apex of a hexagram. And when you superimpose the upside down pentagram over the hexagram, you get a perfectly symmetrical Knights Templar cross. The Pentagon is just a weird shape in of itself. People say that it's an infinite occult symbol because it's the center of a pentagram and the pentagram shape is able to fit into it perfectly. The Washington obelisks measured exactly 55.5 feet in width, which equals to 666 inches on each side, are also 555.5 feet tall, which equals 6,666 inches.
Obviously, 666 is the mark of the beast.
The Washington obelisk sits directly south from the Masonic Temple, which is 13 blocks north of the White House. The iconic Masonic compass symbol stretches from the White House to the Capitol. Perfect drawing of a compass.
That's so crazy.
These two pivotal landmarks and structures that kind of govern our society and our democracy. It's so weird.
See, it's all witchcraft. And so like we're getting into the establishment of this place is all pagan. All right. The so-called founding fathers of this place were high-level witches, warlocks or whatnot. And this is what we want to edify with, just wanted to show that. And Priest, did you want to say anything about this too, right here? About the picture you had made mention of?
Oh yeah, it was just adding on to what you just showed in that video, just showing the satanic symbolism of how they built up, DC, and other parts. Because as we said earlier, pretty much when these elites was building this country, they looked at how previous kingdoms, like for example Egypt, when you look at how the pyramids were positioned, they were, positioned under the different constellations from the stars, and that's how they were, pretty much. They said they was drawing power from that. So these elites, took that same playbook and have, hid many, satanic symbolisms throughout America.
Heavy. And you see, all of this stuff is highly strategic. You think this is of coincidence? You see, these founding fathers, so-called these Freemasons, man, they were highly tapped into that left hand, man. You know, which
Right.
brings. Oh, go ahead, Priest Lucky.
No, it's like I was gonna say, because the Freemasonry, when you get into it, dealing with like Albert Pike and all them guys, man, they tell you that that's high level witchcraft, man. So the fact that they said George Washington was a 33rd degree Mason, he was a high level witch, which we know all these Masons are witches.
Exactly. Which brings us back to the article here. And if I could get somebody to read, I'll pull up the part where it goes into the temples. But if we can just read the first paragraph, and then we'll get to it. You know, if anybody wants to read it.
You want the first paragraph, Saquon?
Yeah, we just read this first paragraph, and then we'll get to the point.
It says, America was founded on pagan ideals. Some Americans who are poorly educated in history claim that the United States of America was founded in 1776 upon Christian ideals. They are wrong. Democracy and republicanism are historically pagan ideas, directly opposed to churchly authoritarianism.
Boom. Now, real quick before we move on, I just want to get a scripture based off what we read here. So let's go to, let me think about Job chapter 20. I'll get it real fast. Job 20 and 11. All right. This is Job chapter 20 and verse 11. Okay. So this is Job 20 and 11, and it reads, it says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Right. And I was thinking about that because, you know, going back where it says his bones are full of sin of his youth, really going back to Cain, all right, being that wicked one. But at the same time, you know, you think about the inception of Babylon, all right, as we read about 1776, it wasn't established off of you know, democracy or whatnot. It was established off of paganism, witchcraft, right? Remember, you know, you had Albert Pike, you know, masonry, witchcraft. This was the establishment of this place. It was by those means. So it says his bones are full of sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. You was gonna say something, Mark?
I was gonna say, you know, they stormed into the land and they set up their groves, they set up the idols, you know.
Okay.
No, they didn't set up anything that was of Yahweh Shem outside.
Right. And then to add to that point, because the killings that they did over here when they was getting down on the Israelites, those were rituals, you know. And every time you see like event with like mass killings, those are rituals that they do. That's why when you got them Illuminati, you know, people, they're going deep into like the numerology and all that to show you like this is high level witchcraft we're seeing.
Exactly. So let's get back into it. The article going back. All right, so let's get to the main point. So jumping down here. So it says, learn why America's proudest symbols are temples, pentagrams, and goddesses, and how you can use them in spellcraft for justice and peace. Man, so let's go into this temples here, right? And you can read it out.
Temples of tranquility in the United States of America. If the United States of America was founded as a Christian nation, then why does almost all of our civic architecture or courthouses, our Capitol buildings, our national monuments imitate classical pagan temples?
Exactly. Right. And an example we gave was in the beginning of the lesson, right? How we showed, as it said, nothing new under the sun. You know, the architecture all goes back to Greek, Roman influence, you know, pagan temples or whatnot. Go ahead, Ak.
Because the founders, as Enlightenment era thinkers, saw the sacred values of democracy and republicanism as pre-Christian inventions of Greek and Roman culture.
Boom. Going back all the way to Greek and Roman culture. All right. And we were talking about, before we started rolling, about the Enlightenment era. Right. And you want me to grab that one in Britannica real quick? Come on, let me pull it up. You got it, Doc.
When you go to the Britannica, the Encyclopedia Britannica, it goes further into the Age of Enlightenment. Jumping to, let's see here, under the subparagraph or subheader, the Age of Reason, Human Understanding of the Universe. I'm gonna jump around a little bit. It says the powers and reasons and use of reason have first been explored by the philosophers of ancient Greece. The Romans adopted and preserved much of Greek culture, notably including the ideas of a rational natural order and natural law. Amid the turmoil of empire, however, a new concern arose for personal salvation, and the way was paved for the triumph of the Christian religion, right? Which really we know is ultimately, the gospel was being preached throughout the four corners of the earth, right? It says Christian thinkers gradually found use for their Greco-Roman heritage. Jumping to the next paragraph, it says the intellectual and political edifice of Christianity seemingly impregnable in the Middle Ages, right, going into the Dark Ages,
right,
fell in turn to the assaults made on it by humanism, the Renaissance, and the Protestant Reformation. So during this Age of Enlightenment, right, it was pretty much countering the divine law, right, the natural order to uplift these Greco-Roman ideals.
Yes.
What they deemed to be the right way, which was after the ways of Yahweh Shem Shai.
So basically, it was like, in a way of like open rebellion against, belief in the scriptures in the Lord, and I want to add to what you just read in this one, just dealing with what the Age of Enlightenment was, right? So right here, this is from Khan Academy, the Enlightenment. It says, let's pull it up. It says the Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, was an intellectual and cultural movement in the 18th century that emphasized reason over superstition and science over blind faith. You see that? So this is where they were beginning to, I guess, if you will, move away from having faith in the scriptures, believing in the Lord, right? Which also contributes to those wines and philosophies again. But it says, using the power of the press, Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke, Isaac Newton, and Voltaire questioned accepted knowledge and spread new ideas about openness, investigation, and religious tolerance throughout Europe and the Americas. Many consider the Enlightenment a major turning point in Western civilization, an age of light replacing the age of darkness. You see that? So they were pushing pretty much science and reasoning over the Lord, so to speak. Let me see if there's a little bit more. Right? You got something out? Go ahead, brother.
It's 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So like you have made mention, they call, religion superstition, right? Or, false religion and things of that nature. But what they're doing is they're teaching you false religion and false worship of these pagan idols and foregoing the truth of Yahweh Shem Shai.
Right.
That's what they're doing. They're pretty much flipping things on their heads, man.
Right. If I can land back off that, this is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. It says, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called. Because as you making mention, this was a whole process where they was trying to put science over the Bible, and so they was trying to find scientific reasons to debunk that the Most High was real. Now I got a couple points. Just when you look up on Google, what were the effects of the Age of Enlightenment? And it says the Age of Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, was an intellectual and cultural movement that took place in Europe from the 17th to 18th centuries. And it just names a couple of points. It says reason over superstition, science over blind faith, secular thought. You said something?
No, go ahead, brother Salaki. Go ahead.
Okay. It says secular thought, new ideas, social and political ideals, and Enlightenment thinkers' influence on revolution. So, in a nutshell, this was Esau beginning to try to establish himself as God over the Lord, because
Mhm.
what he was doing was trying to find, scientific reasons to prove that the Most High wasn't real. And
Exactly, man.
this is essentially what we're seeing taking place all over again.
All over the same thing we see today as we read the scripture. Nothing new, right? But I just want to read this and we'll get back to the article here. But that's good stuff. It says, so it says several ideas dominated Enlightenment thought, including rationalism, empiricism, progressivism, cosmopolitanism. It says rationalism is the idea that humans are capable of using their faculty of reason to gain knowledge. See? What about the Lord? Right? It says this was a sharp turn away from the prevailing idea that people needed to rely on scripture or church authorities for knowledge. Boom. You see that? So this is like, as we're talking about here, this age of enlightenment shit was them Esau, pulling people away from the scriptures, from spirituality, right?
Right. And if I could add in there real quick, because before this really was came about, the Roman Catholic Church had a stronghold on the world at that point, to where people didn't have access to the Bible like they do now. So pretty much what the Roman Catholic Church told them, what the Bible said, that was law. It's in a sense. So once this age of enlightenment came, that's when people began to question the Roman Catholic Church and go into these different ideals.
Finish it out. It says empiricism promotes the idea that knowledge comes from experience and observation of the world. Progressivism is the belief that through their powers of reason and observation, humans can make unlimited linear progress over time. It says this belief was especially important as a response to the carnage and upheaval of the English civil wars in the 17th century. Finally, cosmopolitanism reflected Enlightenment thinkers' view of themselves as actively engaged citizens of the world and opposed the provincial and closed-minded individuals. And all Enlightenment thinkers endeavored to be ruled by reason, not prejudice. All right, so there you go. So let's go back to the article here, and we'll grab some more scriptures as well. All right, but read from the top again, second paragraph.
Temples of Equality, second paragraph says, because the founders, as Enlightenment era thinkers, saw the sacred values of democracy and republicanism as pre-Christian inventions of Greek and Roman culture, which they consider superior to the culture of church-dominated Dark Ages.
Mm-hmm.
To Enlightenment influenced Americans, the architecture of the Gothic cathedral was an impressive reminder of the suffering and tyranny imposed on the old world by state-sponsored Christianity.
Right. If I could make a quick, interjection with that, because that's when you had, the Roman Catholic Church pushing the hell doctrine and everything else, which was using fear as a means to get them to get money from the people.
Still fresh in their historical memory was the 30 Years' War of 1600s, when Europe's Protestant and Catholic powers decimated each other in the bloodiest and most destructive war ever fought until the 20th century. Also deeply influential were Enlightenment scholars, notably historian Edward Gibbon, Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, who attributed the collapse of the classical world to the rise of Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
If I may make a quick point, Zaquan, which is heavy because, we're seeing that this world, Rome 2.0, is falling to what? The doctrine of Yahweh Shemal Shai being preached through the world.
That's it.
2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, in the 4th verse, speaks about, tearing down the strongholds.
Yes. Spiritual.
It says, today, most of America's courthouses, capitals, patriotic monuments, and even banks are built in the neoclassical style. Stop
right there. So I was looking this up. So what is the neoclassical style? All right. Let's pull it up. All right. This is from Wikipedia. So it says neoclassicism. It says neoclassicism emerged as a Western cultural movement in the decorative and visual arts, literature, theater, music, and architecture that drew inspiration from the art and culture of classical antiquity, right? It says neoclassicism was born in Rome. You see, so everything that this place is founded upon is upon Greek Roman principles, you know. And I want to add something real quick before we go back. That's Revelation 13. Let's pull this up and I'll read it. Just thinking about that. Revelation 13 and 12. It says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, which is what? The Roman Empire. All right, the ancient Roman Empire. It says, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. And this goes back to this Greco-Roman Empire system. All right, that influence that has been spread throughout the planet Earth, which we're reading here. You know, it all goes back to Rome, man. All right, and who's Rome? Edom. You see, and that's why. Let me go back because it was another point I was going to make. All right, and this is what we see today. All right, Salakia. Let's pull it back up. But that's dealing with the neoclassical style. It's all of Greco-Roman influence, man. Right? You got it. You read it again.
God. Rereading the paragraph from the top, it says, today, most of America's courthouses, capitals, patriotic monuments, and even banks are built in the neoclassical style. Their marble columns, porticos, friezes, and so on, copied from the shrines and temples of pagan gods and goddesses. Many of these, such as the U.S. Supreme Court, are inspired by the Greek Parthenon, the temple of the goddess Athena, who is the prototype of Lady Liberty.
Right. Everything about this place goes back to idolatry, witchcraft, sorcery, man. Idol worship. Right? So there's no way that this place is going to be preserved, if you will. The Lord's going to destroy this place. All right. And like it says, that's what I was thinking before. This is what I meant to get, but this is Jeremiah. Right? This is Jeremiah chapter 51. In verse 6, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, right? So where it says out of the midst of Babylon, it's talking about detaching your mindset, man, detaching your spirit from this place. All right. It says, and deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai's judgment. He will render unto her a recompense. All right. So we're in the time of the Lord's judgment, man. All right. You see, as we are talking about the exposure of this place and then the eventual downfall of it. All right. The point, verse 7, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai's hand that made all the earth drunken. You see that? And how did America, Babylon, make all of the earth drunken? Through the philosophies that it pushes, like we were reading, the Western ideology, right? The influence, that Greco-Roman influence through the art, the architecture, all right, the theater, the music, okay, everything that's pushed from this place, man. The idolatry, Satanism, you know, the paganism. This is how America has made all the world drunken. It says the nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, you see? And the nations have adopted those same Babylonian philosophies, those Western ways to the point of their destruction, you know? So let's go back, unless brothers want to add on anything.
I want to read this Nahum 3 and 4 in the NLT real quick.
I got you. Let me pull it up. You said Nahum 3 and 4. I'm there in the NLT. Let's pull that up. I got you up. Okay, Khan.
So it says here, Nahum 3 and 4 NLT. All this because Nineveh, the beautiful and faithless city, mistress of deadly charms, enticed the nations with her beauty. She taught them all her magic, enchanting people everywhere. What we're seeing is, right, that revived Roman Empire has been given license to enchant the entire earth, man.
That's
Right?
it.
And it's using America as that centerpiece, right? That focal point of all the wickedness to project out from, man. So now we're seeing all the nations are adopting, right, these different enchantments that they're being taught, right? They were enticed by the potential of wealth and glory from America, right?
Mhm.
But ultimately, like I said, this is a beautiful but faithless city, man, right? So this place has no connection to the Heavenly Father whatsoever. It's actually moving in direct opposition, and that's why we're
Exactly.
starting to see the degradation of it, man.
Exactly.
Because if I can add to you, because here it is that they're putting themselves in this seat of being this God-fearing Christian country. But then when you look up the roots of Christianity, it has heavy ties with paganism.
Exactly. Exactly. Can I add on to you? And then Nahum 3 and 4, we'll go back. This is let's get in Revelation 18. All right, because we just talked about Jeremiah 51 and was it 7 about how Babylon has made these nations drunk through her wines and philosophies. This is Revelation 18 and verse 1, and it reads, it says, and after these I saw another angel come down from heaven having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. All right, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of and in a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right. The point, verse 3, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, going back to what we're bringing out. All right, the mindset, the ideologies, the paganism, the idolatry. All right, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and kings of the earth have Salaki, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Right, because in order for especially these nations that were aligned with Babylon, America, in order for them to receive like aid and benefits, they pretty much had to sell out. You know, they had to take on that Western way, you know, that abominable way in order for them to get the military support and all of that, the money and shit like that. You see, it says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. You see, so that's the point, right? You have something preaching with that in there. I'm gonna go back.
No, you got it. Like I said, man, you just look up, the different things that ties America, Christianity to that. Like, for example, you look at the calendar, the days of the week. Those are pagan gods that the calendar is named after. So just, you just got to look into it, man. It's easy to see.
That's it. That's it. Yep.
Common. It's a video for you brothers and sisters. If you look on YouTube, it's a video called "The Eternal Culture of Ancient Rome." It's a 2-part series on YouTube. It literally goes into everything that brother priest just made mention of. You get to see the parallels in depth.
Right. Right. So we'll go back to the read. Let's pull that up.
You want to go back to the temple article?
Yeah, I'm going back right now. I'm pulling it up.
Come.
And we'll read that last paragraph.
Come.
You got it up.
It says, others such as U.S. Capitol building with its familiar rotunda are modeled on the Pantheon, the Roman temple whose round dome was built to honor all the gods and goddesses equally, just as the American Constitution requires all government to treat all religions equally. Unlike the high steeples and pointed arches.
And that's confusion. Salaki, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's the confusion. It's Babylon, man. All right. There's only one truth, one faith, one God, And that's why, once again, this is why America is known as that land of confusion. You know, all the idols, all the ancient gods are exercised here. All right. You got it.
Unlike the high steeples and pointed arches of church architecture, which symbolize the ecclesiastical ideal of a hierarchical society dominated by one lord from on high, round structures from the Roman Pantheon to the Celtic Arthurian Round Table to the Native American Council House reflect the traditional pagan ideal of an equal society governed by the people themselves, guided by all the divine beings that speak to their hearts.
You got it. If you want to say anything.
God, and I just wanted to make a point as to why the Lord had always instructed us when we would go into these nations to tear down these idols, to tear down their groves, to tear down their architecture, because these were put up for a reason.
Yeah.
When people walk around, for instance, Charlotte, North Carolina, if you go by the courthouse, there's an obelisk. But then right around the corner, you got a hotel called the Bohemian Hotel, with all different type of, symbolism and whatnot. Right. All of these cities, they have this up here for a reason, because it ties back to pagan practices.
Yes.
May I get
Hey, Saki, real quick, I want to add to you, Tyler. This is why when you look like Vegas, for example, Vegas, which is known as Sin City, they have monuments of all the past captivities that the Israelites were in. They got the pyramids, they got the symbol for the Syrians, all that, man. So as you got on the screen, the architecture, that's a tool of magic, man. So this is why they build these different things. It's for a reason.
Exactly. And I wanted to add on to that. That's exactly what I was going to make the point about. As we're reading here, it says sacred architecture is a tool for magic. This is even in a time when most people have forgotten how to use it. Our Constitution separates church from state, but it doesn't forbid private citizens from worshiping as we choose in our patriotic shrines. Here are some tips on how witches can magically use courthouses, Capitol buildings, and monuments, right? So this adds on to what we just brought out in the beginning here. This is the reason why, let me go back. All right, this is the reason why, the DC, the Capitol, has been constructed in the manner that it has been constructed in, because this is high level magic. This is high level witchcraft, man. Okay, so these things, how they construct buildings, the exact measurements and all that, these things have effects on people, man. You see, they're not constructing these buildings these type of ways for no reason. They know these devils are deep, like the scriptures say. Matter of fact, let me get that. That's in was it in Psalm 64? Let me get that real quick.
64:8. I wanted to add to you too, because a good example of that you see with Jake. That's how you know that witchcraft is on Jake, because in every major city, Martin Luther King Boulevard has a spell on Jake to wild out, and there's a lot of death that happens on that street because that's strategically placed there. And that's how you know that that's an enchanted street.
Khan. This is Psalm 64:5. It says they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them, right? Because people don't really have the knowledge of these things, nor do they believe it. So when these things are talked about, you're looked at as being crazy. You're looked at as being some type of conspiracy theories or whatever the case is. But like Elder Apostle Bar said, these are conspiracy facts. God damn it! All right, this is the truth. All right, was it at Ephesians 6:10? All right, we wrestle with not with flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places. Right? Can I play this one more time, Akim? All right, let me pull this up. Just one more time, just to make the point. To the American Capitol.
Washington, D.C. is a super, super strange place. It was architected and designed by the orders of George Washington himself, who was a 33rd degree Freemason. The White House sits at the apex of an inverted pentagram. It also sits at the apex of a hexagram. And when you superimpose the upside down pentagram over the hexagram, you get a perfectly symmetrical Knights Templar cross.
So they just randomly building shit like this? You know? Come on, man.
Hexagon is just a weird shape in of itself. People say that it's an infinite occult symbol because it's the center of a pentagram, and the pentagram shape is able to fit into it perfectly.
Right. So as we're reading, right, we ain't got to watch it all again, but as we'll go back. But as we're reading here, what did it say again? It says sacred architecture is a tool for magic, right? So they're performing high level witchcraft by doing these things, constructing these idols and these temples, these buildings, which all go back to paganism. See, you got it, Akim, whatever you brothers want to bring out.
God, I had a quick precept.
Con.
It's a few verses. Exodus chapter 34 and verse 12. I'll read in the NLT. Be very careful never to make a treaty with the people who live in the land where you are going. If you do, you will follow their evil ways and be trapped. Instead, you must break down their pagan altars, smash their sacred pillars, and cut down their Ashereth poles. You know, so for this point to be made, you know, it's a reason why, right? That the Spirit was on Moses to say these things and instruct Israel to operate in this fashion, because they understood the practices that were tied to these architectures, right? And it was important to tear this down. So whenever Israel wouldn't tear it down, they would eventually start to entertain these customs and beliefs.
Right.
But see, within Babylon, you know, it's a land, the mother of harlots and abominations, that has literally engulfed the minds of the people to have nowhere to turn, to where it's just like it's idols everywhere. It's pagan altars everywhere.
And if I can add to you, because that's why, you know, before, you know, Jake assimilated fully into, you know, Babylon, when we were still kind of on our own, Jake was able to still, you know, be able to do what they was doing without being really all the way influenced by, you know, the witchcraft. But the moment Esau began to, you know, bring Jake in and, you know, immerse Jake in, you know, the inner workings of how this country was, that's when we started getting influenced all the way. And that's why we see our people through like it is now.
Let's grab Revelation 17 real quick. I was thinking about that too. Somebody want to read that? I'll put it in the screen.
God, I got it.
You got it, bro.
Revelation chapter 17 and verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Yeah, the great whore, all right, America, Babylon, that sitteth upon many waters, which signifies the people, nations. Go ahead.
Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right, everything that we've been going through in this lesson. All right, the Western influence, that Greco-Roman influence, the Western way, the ideology, the mindset, the idols, the pagan ideals, you know, the abominations. Go ahead.
Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast.
Yep, the woman representing America, right? And it says upon that scarlet-colored beast, what represents the seven heads, or the seven the seven nations of the that are under the control of the Edomites. Go ahead.
Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Yeah, 7 heads, 10 horns. All right. The EU nations. Right. Go ahead.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Right. So the purple will signify rulership. All right. That scarlet color going back to red, which is dealing with Esau, Edom. And it says in deck with gold and precious stones and pearls, going back to the wealth, resources and whatnot. Go ahead.
Having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
You see that? Full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, right? So everything that we're reading about here in this article dealing with the pagan idols, all right, the witchcraft, how it was established, the masonry, the architecture, the magic, everything that's going on here. And what else do we see that's pushed? The pedophilia, the sodomy, all of the illicit sex acts that go on in this place, the moral degeneracy, which is pushed from Babylon, America. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Yeah, that's America, man. All right, all like we talked about earlier, all the idols of the previous captivities that we were under are all exercised here. Okay, they're just going like we saw earlier. Let's pull that back up. A lot of these Babylonian gods, these Canaanite deities, all right, they're all pushed here in Babylon again, but they go under different titles, different names. Right? This is Mystery Babylon, America, man. You brothers want to add anything in there?
I just want to get that commentary for you.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So the David Guzik biblical commentary for Revelation 17 chapter reads, Babylon was the seat of the civilization that expressed organized hostility towards the Most High. Right? So speaking on this place as Babylon, it shows you that they're in direct opposition to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? And every society, subsequently after Babylon, shared in those same roles. It says, jumping down in John's day, Rome epitomized all the antagonism and opposition to the Christian faith. In some ways, the city of Rome was the clearest fulfillment of the Babylon attitude, right? So this being Rome 2.0, this is a clear fulfillment of the attitude that Babylon had, man. Right? It says, if we had to pick one city today that most exemplifies the world system, perhaps we would say that Los Angeles is the Babylon of today, which we know an American city being exemplified as Babylon would mean the whole country is an example of Babylon the Great, man.
That's it, man.
It was a little bit more. It's a lot. Jumping down, it says here, who sits on many waters. It shows here that Babylon presides over many nations. She has a universal international character. This is unification of all false idolatrous religion and representatives from apostate Catholicism, Protestantism, as well as a smorgasbord of other religions of the world. It says that Rome and the Romish system, actually, sorry, that's not the point. Jumping down to how she made the world drunk. It says the idea of fornication often has a strong association in the Bible. Since this is a well-accepted religious system, it is likely to appear as attractive and spiritual, though not necessarily moral, right? So everything about this place seems attractive to these other nations of the world, but it lacks moral character, man. It's actual moral decadence.
God. Yeah, this is Mystery Babylon, man. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. God. I got something here to read real quick before I go to another article, and that'll be it. But we just, what we're doing is solidifying the point that this place was established off of paganism, right? This place is wicked, man. That's why it's on the verge of destruction, right? But just some more information. It's a lot of information. Maybe we can do some more lessons on it. But just clicking around here. But it says our nation, one nation under many gods. It says the religious beliefs of America's founding fathers in their own words, right? So it says the obelisks of the Washington Monument are capitals soaring Egyptian sun shrine is proof in marble that the USA is a pagan as well as a Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist nation. It says, it's no coincidence, right? And that's Babylon. All right. It says, and it's no coincidence that the most of America's public architecture, our courthouses, Capitol buildings, etc., is modeled on classical pagan temples and not on Gothic churches like the public buildings in Great Britain, which is officially a Christian nation. All right, bullshit. It says anyone who takes the trouble to actually read about America's history instead of just preaching their opinions about it will discover that most of the founding fathers were religious radicals who didn't even belong to a conventional church, right? And I'm just going to read a couple of quotes here, and I'm going to go to the next article. It's just making our point. It says the following quotations from the writings of America's founders provide plenty of proof that the quote, the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Hear that? It says, this is from James Madison. It says all men are equally entitled to the free exercise of religion according to the dictates of conscience, right? So basically, as we talked about earlier, these founding fathers were in the forefront of rebellion against the Most High in the scriptures, right? The foundation of this place. It says the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslims. It says, and I'll read one more. It says that the religion then of every man must be left to the conviction and conscience of every man. It is proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. We hold this prudent jealousy to be the first duty of citizens and one of the noblest characteristics of the late revolution. The freedmen in America did not wait till usurped power has strengthened itself by exercise and entangled them in the question of precedence. It says they saw all the consequences in the principle, they avoided the consequences by denying the principle. We revere this lesson too much soon to forget it. All right, so you get it, man. Right? I'm going to add one more in there. Right? Bear with me. Got all these tabs pulled up. Let me see where it's at. Okay, here we go. So here it says, is the new dominant religion in America paganism? All right, and it gives reference to the book Pagan America, the Decline of Christianity in the Dark Ages to Come. But there was a point down here I wanted to read. It says Pagan America, bear with me. It says what is happening, put bluntly, America is becoming pagan and has been pagan. But it says that doesn't necessarily mean a sudden surge in people worshiping Zeus or Apollo, although modern forms of witchcraft are on the rise. You was gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say that's on point because people are just blatantly practicing Satanism at this point. People are, they're so, destitute, in terms of morality that they're just completely leaning to the left openly.
Yeah. Yep. It says whether it means of embrace, rather it means an embrace of fundamentally pagan worldview that rejects both transcendent moral truth and objective reality and insists instead that truth is relative and reality is what we will it to be. All right. Everybody's bugged the fuck out now. This new age train of thought. All right. You could wake up one day and be a fucking tree. You could marry a car. You see what I'm saying? This all ties into that. It says, and I'll read these last three and give it back to you, brothers. But it says, recall the ancient pagans ascribed sacred or divine status to the here and now, to things or activities, even to human beings, if they were powerful enough, like Pharaoh or a Roman emperor. They rejected the notion of an omnipotent, transcendent God. All right, which we went into the Enlightenment era way of thinking. It says all that the existence of God would imply. Hassan I-Sabah, the 9th century Arab warlord whose group gave us the word assassin, summed up the pagan ethos in the famous last words: nothing is true, everything is permitted. A little bit more. It says, bear with me. It says, it says America was founded not just on certain ideals, but a certain kind of people, a predominantly Christian people, and it depends on for survival or moral virtue. But what we're reading here, the principles of this place are all pagan. All right. It says, as Christianity fades in America, so too will our system of government, our civil society, and all our rights and freedoms. And we see that happening now. It says, without a national culture shaped by the Christian faith, without a majority consensus in favor of traditional Christian morality, America as we know it will come to an end. Instead of free citizens in a republic, we will be slaves in a pagan empire, man. Ooh,
Right.
man.
And if I can add to that point, because what we're seeing now taking place is that they're abandoning this whole freedom of religious thing, and they're making it to where you're going to worship Satan. You're already doing it. We're just going to announce it so that you all know.
Yep.
You know, so the whole false Christianity cover that they've been, using since America's beginning, they're coming straight out and telling you that was a lie. You worship Satan, and y'all gonna be okay with it. And I got a quick one.
You got it, brother.
This is Psalms 50 and 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction and casteth my words behind thee? So, like I said, the thought process that they have pushed to say that America is this great God-fearing Christian country, that's out the window, man.
Right.
As we've been going into this whole lesson, all right, this place is the mother of harlots, this is witchcraft and everything. So the Bible is not really the law of the land like they claim, man. This place is fit for destruction because of the witchcraft that's being done here, man.
Yep, beautiful. I'm just looking at some more stuff from the website, but that's pretty much the point. There's different categories that point out the witchcraft and how the foundation of this place, and I'll look into more as we move on later on. But that's pretty much the point that we wanted to attack. This whole idea of America being founded as a Christian nation is a lie. All right, it was established off pagan principles, right? And that's why the Lord is going to destroy this place, man. All right, point blank, period. You brothers got anything else you want to add in there? That's all I got. Just wanted to grab those scriptures there.
I mean, I can get Isaiah 47 real quick.
Oh yeah. I'll pull it up. I got you out.
Yeah, we start at verse 12.
For sure. All right, I'll read it for you.
Okay.
So this is Isaiah 47. Can I start at 10?
Go ahead.
I'll start at 9. Slocky. Here we go. There's Isaiah 47 and 9. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment and in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments.
Right. So this is the reason why we understand that America was never fit to continue to rule forever, because as you open the lesson up with the scripture and the law, talking about how the Lord says that he suffered not a witch to live. So since this place was established on witchcraft, all right, that's why the destruction that America is going to have is going to be so great.
Beautiful. That whore, that witch has to be put to death.
She got to get burned.
Right? She got to be burned. So it's all spiritual. What is the Lord going to do to this place? Nuclear war. He's going to burn it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the parallels is heavy, as we always bring out. But anyway, back in Isaiah 47 in verse 10, it says, but thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Right, and that's the mindset of these elites and the rest of these Edomites. They think that with the witchcraft that they're doing, they're going to be able to, sustain their kingdom and continue on until, forever. But that's not the case.
That's right. Verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know.
Right, and this is the reason why we understand that this country is going down. But these Edomites, they don't get it. They think that, because they commune with demons, they commune with Satan. So they've been given, the knowledge to be able to do all these things for all these years, but they don't understand that power is being stripped from them as we speak.
Yeah, like you were saying the other day, even you got these Edomites pushing Make America Great Again, MAGA. That goes back to what? Magic, right?
Yep.
So it's all a form of subtle, sorcery, witchcraft, man. It says, verse 12, it says, stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. See, going back to if I could pull it back out, bear with me. All right, going back to the foundation of this place, as we read earlier, dealing with the so-called founding fathers. Right, let me see if it'll pull up. It had nothing to do with the Bible. It had nothing to do with Christianity. All right, this place was established off of witchcraft, off of paganism. Right, Isaiah 47. Back at it. Isaiah 47:12 again. Stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. See, if so be thou should be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Verse 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that should come upon thee.
Right, and that's the Lord making mockery to you devils, man, because as we know, they got their witches and warlocks trying to, use their enchantments to try to keep this thing going, but the spirit of the Lord is, the one that's in control, and he's letting you devils know that no matter what sorcery you're doing, your destruction is still imminent.
That's it. I'll finish out verse 14, but down to 15 it says, behold, they should be a stubble, they should burn, the fire shall burn them, they should not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There should not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before it. The Lord's gonna melt this place. It says, thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander everyone to his quarter, and none shall save thee. All right. So there's nothing that this place can do to be saved from the coming judgment of the Lord.
That's
basically.
Right.
So as we talked about the witchcraft, the paganism, the Lord has to get rid of this place.
That's right.
That's it, man. You brothers got anything else you want to add in there?
La.
That's it, man. All right. Well, we pray that you were edified, man. Hopefully we weren't all over the place, but we just wanted to hit these points. America was established on pagan ideals and influenced through Babylon, man. So there's no denying at all right, that this place, America, is Babylon the Great. All right. It should be no confusion on that, man, at all. Okay. America is the daughter of Babylon. American symbols throughout our capital, its cornerstone. The founding of Babel is directly linked to the American capital itself. All right. So there's no way around the truth. See?
That's right.
So, hey, leave it like that. Pray that you were edified. We're going to close it out by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Hey, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us the truth. And double salutations to our Akim out there laboring in the house of David, the elect, is pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. Hey, shalom out there. At the water Akim.